Hello, Joanne Richards, and welcome to session 6 of Family Recovery Essentials. Thanks so much for participating in this. We're really helping ourselves and families. So tonight we're talking about listening and improving our connection and communication. So we have looked at coping and choosing to live life with joy. So I invite you to review last session. There was lots of material for a body, mind, spirit approach and some handouts to take a look at what choices and options you have available for yourself. And we took a look at some thoughts that would stop us from choosing some joy and choosing to spend a little bit more time in our interests and hobbies. Those thoughts were things like guilt, what we're guilty about, spending money on ourselves, or being able to slow down and just staying in a faster pace so that we don't think. And we talked about, our thoughts come anyway, whether we're spending time in silence, taking care of them, or quickening our pace and noticing the thoughts anyway. They don't really go anywhere. So they're just calling to us to welcome them like a small child would be welcomed. Come sit on my lap. You can question them and turn them around. And then just notice, as we're developing skills of just noticing and breathing, it's just noticing what are those thoughts, what's happening, what are the physical sensations that arise when I believe my thoughts, what are my reactions, and just to become the observer of all of that can really help us to notice how it will shift on its own, and then we can also apply some of the tools and the new skills that we're learning. So tonight, again, we're talking about connection and communication, and it works unless you really don't question your thoughts and judgments so that you move into a heart and a mind of love. And if you don't practice your calming skills, whether it be meditation, mindfulness, something formal, informal, breathing through transitions, like as you walk from one room to another or get in and out of the car, just being mindful of a present moment. These become really, really essential tools to work on our connection and communication because we're connecting with ourselves and communicating with ourselves at such a deep level that opens it up to do the same with other people. So for a moment, I invite you to just breathe. Just begin to breathe normally and notice. Notice your body. What's your heart rate? What's your body temperature? Are you moving your foot? Are you comfortable in the chair or not? And just notice, just objectively notice. Notice what stories come along with all this noticing. And then notice those thoughts. Notice the stories and just allow them. Welcome them. Notice how you're slowing down, but you're present and you're allowing all of this. Notice any sounds. What does your breath sound like? Are there sounds in other rooms of your immediate environment? Is your stomach gurgling? Are there cars passing on the street? Is there a dog barking? Let it all be. It is anyway. And just breathe. Allow it all to be in this present moment, noticing the stories and watching it all come and go. And what remains is you in the present moment, breathing. The only thing that's happening, really, just notice, is woman sitting, breathing. Those are the facts of what you can see and hear. We could say observing, but we can't see or hear that. Woman sitting, breathing. Okay, so come on back. So hopefully over the last few weeks, you're becoming more aware that you're noticing more without necessarily attaching to or believing your thoughts as automatic truth. And you have the tools like, whose business am I in? Can I know that this is absolutely true? Am I in past and future? Am I seeing images, or am I, woman sitting, breathing? So that will help you to come back to the present moment and connect to calm and patience. And of course, this is inconsistent, so it's really welcoming that inconsistency. So let's talk about listening. Listening is really an art. It's a skill that develops with practice over time. Everything, any new skill that we want to learn is practice, repeated practice over time, and that creates the change. So it does take some presence. That's why I keep saying, come back to your present moment skills, your conscious breathing. Your breathing takes you right into the present moment. So it takes intention. It takes a deliberate choice to make this happen for yourself. And listening takes curiosity, an interest in exploring, and a genuine desire to understand the meaning and perspective of another person. So with curiosity, it might sound like, what do you mean by that? Or how do you experience that? So that you can gather information, connect, and learn more about this person and what they're sharing with you. It does not mean that we're condoning or agreeing. It's just that is very interesting and I'd like more information or clarification. Listening is other person centered. It's really holding a space for you to listen, learn, and for them to speak. It requires silence. It's an awareness of what's happening for you. What does your body language say? Are you moving away from them? Are your arms folded up and all guarded? Again, listening is being curious, and it's an interest in understanding. Again, not agreement. You don't even have to say whether you agree or not. It's just, help me to understand that. It's listening for meaning. And if you don't know what someone means, well, by all means, ask, what do you mean by that? I'm trying to understand. So that really leads to connecting. And the patience takes care of itself with that curiosity and presence. It's like, well, I'm right here. So what am I being patient about? I'm just right here. I don't have to be patient for the future. I'm right here, present and curious. But what listening is not is waiting for someone to finish so you get your turn. And pretending to hear, but allowing the distractions and your own agenda. Or rehearsing what your response will be while they're talking. Or gathering that ammunition to essentially prove them wrong. It's like, yeah, I hear you, but it's that but. Or calculating your response so that you can convince them that what you're saying is really right, which makes them wrong. And oftentimes people go on the defense, especially our children who are working through addiction issues. So also assuming that you know what they're thinking and how they feel, better to ask them. So tell me about your thoughts. Tell me what you're thinking. How do you feel about that? or analyzing them, silently analyzing them. And this is, it's just so normal that we do this. But again, just notice and bring yourself back to what listening actually is. So I invite you to think of a situation with your loved one, with your child. So for us, it's your child, our sons. And think of a situation when you thought your son was not listening to you, dismissing you, ignoring you, or not taking your advice. And put those judgments on a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. Okay? So if you haven't done that, just push pause and write out a worksheet. Okay? And because this is recorded, I'm going to share my worksheet and work it through. And I invite you to do your own inquiry if you share the same thought with me and find your own answers. Okay? So now that you have your worksheet, let's inquire. So my worksheet is, I'm disappointed because he's ignoring my advice. And my advice would be to get better support in his community. I want him to value my advice. I want him to make me feel better. I want him to be with positive people. I want him to protect his recovery. He should do more socially. He should go to sober meetups. He should join a good meetup. He should assess his relationships. He should drop some negative people from his life. I need him to be safe. I need him to relieve my worry. I need him to show me positive actions. He is complacent, uncommitted, at risk. I don't ever want to worry about him again. Okay, so I'm going to walk through a worksheet. So he's ignoring my advice. Is that true? No, I really don't know. First of all, I haven't really shared all that much advice. I haven't told him what to do, and I'm not quite sure what he's doing in that regard because I don't really get into his business too much. And even if I did, I don't know what is happening in his own mind and in his own life. He might be doing that. I just don't know about it. So is it true he's ignoring my advice? No. But how do I react when I believe he's ignoring my advice? I get scared. I feel intimidated by him. I manipulate by insinuating comments into our conversation or asking in such a way that it manipulates him to give me an answer. I see him relapsing. Like if he doesn't take my advice, I see him relapsing, and that scares me. So it costs me a relationship. I'm really not even listening to him when I'm on the phone, and I believe he's not taking my advice. That's immediate separation. I'm aware of it, so now I feel guilty. I'm frustrated with myself for not showing up. But the payoff to this, if I believe he's ignoring my advice, that somehow it gives me permission to keep getting in his business and making comments like, oh, he might hear it this time and this way if I say it this way. So it gives me permission to do this. However, I just continue the stress. I'm not being particularly honest in my communication. And when I do that, I'm really preventing myself from looking for a different way of communicating. So who would I be without the thought? He's ignoring my advice. I'd be very present to what's going on in me. So what's going on in me is, what am I doing? What is my intention? What's my motive? Is it fear or is it curiosity? I become more curious. It's not about me giving my advice. What I really want is to connect. And so I get more intentional about connecting and listening to him. I want to know, like, what's happening for you? How do you experience life these days? What's next for you? What kind of support do you have? What kind of support do you need? So now these what how questions become really automatic. So I feel very capable. Turn it around. He's ignoring my advice. He's not ignoring my advice. Again, I really don't know. Like, I don't really know, because in the past I've given him so much advice. Like, what advice is he ignoring or not ignoring? I really don't know until I might come right out and ask, hey, I'm just curious what's going on. If that is even appropriate. And most of the time, it's not in my situation. So he's not ignoring my advice. I'm ignoring my advice. I'm ignoring my advice to come up with a better way to connect and communicate and really practice that over and over and over. I'm ignoring my advice that I've identified in some of my worksheets to follow. I've ignored my advice that I'm the one to do this, certainly before I expect him to do this. I can find lots of ways I've ignored my advice. Like, plan this, Joanne, plan that, Joanne, and I don't. Or don't do that, Joanne, and I do. My advice to drink more water. That's really a place that sounds silly, but, being partially dehydrated is not a really healthy thing. So I'm ignoring my advice. I want him to protect his recovery. Is that true? Yes. I want him to protect his recovery. Is that true? Absolutely. Yes. How do I react? What happens when I believe the thought? I want him to protect his recovery. I'm nervous. I'm in the future. I'm in his business. There's an assumption that he's not. That doesn't feel so good. There's like the payoff is if I want it bad enough that somehow energetically I'll be this powerful influence and be able to be perfect in my communication, and somehow I can energetically protect his recovery for him. Not working. So it really costs me my peace of mind. It costs me a reality too. So who would I be without the thought? I want him to protect his recovery. Oh my gosh, I move into gratitude that he's doing some things well, that he's trying. And who would I be if he was in full-blown using without the thought I want him to protect his recovery? Well, I'm going to meet him where he's at. I really don't want to miss a minute. I just want to be able to be an influence, and that requires me to do what I can do. So I'm doing what I can do without that thought that I want him to protect his recovery. I become very aware of my own behavior, my own thoughts, my own attitudes, because I really don't want to cause unrest, and that's up to me to take care of my unrest so I can show up peacefully and skillfully. I turn it around. I want me to protect my recovery, for sure. For sure, because that feels so much better than not doing it. It saves my life, my body, mind, and spirit life. It really, really hurts to disconnect from me. Really, really hurts. So I want me to protect my recovery. And how could it be possible, the turnaround? I do not want him to protect his recovery. Okay, because it's really painful also to argue with reality. It just takes me completely out of relationship and present moment. So can I just meet him where he's at without the wanting him to protect his recovery? And that feels really good. Like, honey, I understand. I hear you. Um, how how can you help yourself today? What do you need today? I become really, really effective when I don't want something that argues with reality. I'm grounded in what's happening and I call upon my wisdom, experience, and skills. Better. Yeah, that feels really much better. So let's take another one. He should do more positive social things. Is that true? Yes. Can I absolutely know it's true? He should do more positive social things. Yes, he's talked about it. He thinks so. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a yes. So, how do I react? What happens when I believe he should do more positive social things? Here, I manipulate my ideas, and I manipulate the way I say things. And it's not that, what I'm saying is wrong. It's just that motive is to manipulate him and to sway him and convince him that I'm right, that I know better, and I want information, and I'm not coming out and being honest about my concerns or asking him if he wants to hear my ideas. I don't even ask. I just make a lot of assumptions. I expect him to do more. I'm very needy, and because I'm totally in fear that he's going to relapse unless he does more positive social things. And who would I be without the thought he should do that? I say, I'm curious. I'm just curious. You've talked about wanting to meet other people, do positive things. How are you handling that? Or what's your experience of that? What ideas do you have? Are you open to my ideas? So now I'm connected and curious, but I'm not so far into his business. The fear is gone. I feel supportive, caring, loving. I'm surrendering to his journey, to God's plan for him. But I'm still connected. I'm doing my part. There's a peacefulness in it. I'm loving him. I'm just loving him. That becomes the most important thing that I could possibly do without that thought. So turn it around. He should do more positive things socially. He should not until he's ready or until he finds the thing that lands for him. I can't choose that. He should not. You know, maybe he does need more ideas. So I could in fact say, hey, I have some ideas. Are you open to hearing them? Because I don't have to share them. I wouldn't say that, but it's like, hey, I have some ideas. Are you open to hearing them? Because I really don't want to impose them onto him. He should not do more things socially. Well, he's doing other things, trying to maintain his recovery and have a job. He's taking care of some other business that maybe the social thing is not the priority for him right now. And until I ask that, well, I don't know. And I'm in assumptions and expectations. It doesn't feel good. So I should do more positive things socially. Yeah, I really should. It's very easy for me to get really quiet and isolate at home. I work from home, and it's an effort to plan and initiate and do more positive things socially. So yeah, I could find the living turnaround, like to plan at least one thing with friends every week to get out of the house and do something positive. And I do. That's actually part of my recovery plan. But I could see where I could do some different things as well. Um, yeah, so I should do more things socially. Yes. I need him to, I need him to be safe. Is that true? Yes. I need it. Can I absolutely know it's true that I need him to be safe? Actually, no. He has not been safe, and I haven't even known it. And he has not been safe when I have known it, and we got through. Somehow we got through. So, can I absolutely know it's true? I need him to be safe. No, it is really not true. But how do I react when I believe the thought I need him to be safe? I check out of my life. I'm in pure worry mode. I'm very preoccupied. I don't make those plans. My recovery plan might take a hit. It's like my gratitude practice. It's like I'm not really feeling so grateful because I'm worried about him. And that takes a hit rather than saying, okay, this is exactly the time that I need to practice gratitude. How else do I react? Lots of images, scary, scary images. I'm in God's business. I really don't know even what's happening. He's not with me. He's not right in front of me. So there's a very helpless feeling when I believe the thought I need him to be safe. And most of that, just brings me into the future. Lots and lots more fear. Lots and lots more thoughts. And what it does is it disallows me from seeing what is working, what I can be thankful for, what I can do, how I can be, and what I have to do for me first. So who would I be without the thought? I need him to be safe. Yeah, I'm really clear that I need me to concentrate on my recovery, take care of my fears, maybe get facilitated if they're really, to be held in my fear, really amp up the recovery tools, reach out, do what I can, get more information, look for the good, look for what's working. I might even, I would be reaching out to him, but carefully, not telling him what to do, but meeting him where he's at. Getting out of the future, really getting out of the future. So I'm proactive with what I can do, not with what I can't control. Turn it around. I need him to be safe. I don't need him to be safe. I really don't even know. He's not in front of me. I do not need him to be safe because I don't even know what kind of condition he's in or what I'm hearing, if that's true. Many, many, many experiences where he's OD'd and, apparently not safe. And I either have known it after the fact, or I don't even know how many times. I know it's a lot. So I don't need him to be safe. And I don't need him to be safe because I'm trusting that I will take care of myself. I do have some tools. I have supports. I will reach out for more. And I'm out of God's business, and I'm actually aligning with God to give my son to God's son, to God. I need me to be safe. Yeah, I really do. I need me to be safe. I really can scare myself going all over the map and not taking care of what I can take care of. It's really disconnecting. It's scary. And I need me to be safe because I do not want to risk coming at my son with all this fear, assumptions, expectations. It's a surefire way to make him avoid and run away. And I really do not want to waste time and energy and risk that with him. So I need me to be safe first. My body, mind, and spirit, I need to take care of that first. Very, very clear. So he is not complacent in my situation. No, he is. Look, he's been not using for several months now that I know of. So obviously not complacent about many things to get there. And I hear that he contemplates his situation, so that's not complacent. I'm complacent. Yes, I can be complacent. I can be busy or preoccupied and not do my gratitude for a couple of days or not do conscious breathing, and that's complacency. Because I know when I do it consistently, it works. It works if I work it, and if I don't, it's complacent and uncommitted. He's uncommitted. He is committed. He's committed enough for him. Either he's committed to using or he's committed to not using. And that's not really up to me. But right now, he's committed to one day at a time. So I'm grateful. I'm uncommitted. Well, I'm not perfect. So there are things that I'm not committing to in positive ways and in kind of, negative ways. So I can find where I'm uncommitted. Certainly in past, like how I'm really uncommitted to daily practice. And how much better it feels to be committed, to be truly committed. At risk, he's at risk, he's not at risk. Well, he's not at risk for my intense fears. I can think of worst case scenario, and for today, in this moment, I don't even know. So I'm the one in my mind that puts him tremendously at risk, when most of the time my worst fear is not happening in that, in moments. It's my mind, so I put him at risk. And when I don't, well, he's not at risk. I'm at risk. I'm at risk if I don't do my recovery. If I don't take care of my fears and do my recovery, exercise, eat well, gratitude, go to my support groups, my breathing practices, reaching out to people, socializing. If I don't have this full plan, if I remove one of those things, I am at risk. It takes about 2 days for me to start to feel the impact of not being consistent. doesn't feel good. So I'm at risk. The last statement, I don't ever want to worry about him again. I'm willing to worry about him again. I look forward to worrying about him again. How can that be of service to me, to him, or the world? Well, I'm willing to worry because I'm pretty sure that will happen. And I look forward to worrying about him because I'm proving to myself that I can take care of this worry and meet him even clearer than I was before. And he knows it too. So our relationship is deepening. The trust is there. He does not have to take care of me. I can really look forward to worrying because that is actually my avenue to freedom, and my avenue to a better relationship with my son. So that's the worksheet. And again, these wants, shoulds, and needs that we come up with when we identify these baby steps, exactly what it will look like and sound like, they become our prescription for peace. It's our own inner wisdom. So don't rob yourself of the opportunity to find it, take it all to inquiry, the thoughts on each statement, turn it around, and realize the deeper peace than to just talk it back to yourself, just to read your worksheet back to yourself. That is not deep enough. These thoughts will keep showing up, and you can just go deeper and deeper. The way to go deeper is it means that. So if this happens, it means that, it means that, it means that. You keep going deeper to find the root cause, the thought that causes the fear. And you take that to inquiry, turn it around. This is a prescription for peace. There's really no shortcuts. There's an unlearning and undoing, but that's there's no shortcuts. So what is listening? Again, it takes curiosity, empathy, connection, and communication. So again, I can't stress it enough. As you practice your daily calming and peace skills, your tone of voice and body language can soften to allow your emotional and physical availability to connect with your child, and then show up with empathy and compassion. So what is curiosity? It is a strong desire to know or to learn something. And that doesn't mean that you report what you're learning. That becomes more about you. But sometimes it's appropriate. And empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. But that does not mean, it's really not about being responsible for the other's experience or even their feelings, or to make them feel better or fix it. It's just about holding them in their experience to find their heart, their solutions, and a safe, warm place to listen to themselves, to allow their feelings. So tone of voice and body language are two essential factors to your presence and reflecting an open energy and an open mind to listen from your heart. So take your time to get really clear and calm to get to that place, and then your light from within can shine out towards your child with open ears, an open heart, an open mind. So curiosity is very connecting. It's really helpful to notice when you might be moving into emotional or physical reactions. Notice what feelings you have, what's happening in your body, and breathe and bring your focus back to being curious, as if you are exploring you and you're exploring the other person, and you're exploring this interaction that you're having for the very first time with new eyes, new ears. That's how curious you can be. And ask your child or anyone, is that what you mean? I heard you saying this. Did I get that right? Did I miss anything? Keep it simple. Really simple, just one question at a time, and use words that they can understand. And allow for silence, especially on the phone. Don't assume that you're not getting an answer. Allow for a little silence so that everyone can contemplate. And again, if you have an idea or an opinion or a solution, ask if someone is open to hearing it. It's such an invitation. And then they can take responsibility. If they say yes, it's like, yeah, I'm open to hearing it. It's like they can't really blame you. They can, but it's like, well, I asked and, you said, yes, you were open to hearing it. And I hear now you're not. So I will stop. So again, be careful about your motives. If it's to manipulate or it's an opinion, you're really no longer connected and you're not listening. So in your handouts are communication tips, communicating with love. Lots, and again, in the stages of change, the open-ended questions gives you lots of ways to ask open-ended questions. That's the what and how questions, not why. Why is really rarely used. It's not that it's never used, but typically it can put someone in a defensive mode. We don't want to do that. So what, how helps someone to be inspired. It's thought-provoking. They can own their ideas. They start to develop adult skills of problem solving. And you're very connected. And it's conversational, very conversational. It's a safer, much, much, much safer place to communicate from. So what do you think, honey? How do you experience that? What's that like for you? Who do you think can support you with that? How do you see this progressing? What solutions do you have? How do you see that working for you? What's the first thing you can do? Where do you think that might be, that support, that resource? Where do you want to go from here? What can you do today? Okay, things like that. And I really encourage you to get a few that work for you and have them written down near your phone or wherever you are, so that these become a go-to skill that you're using. Again, practice, practice, imperfection, imperfection, practice, practice. Okay, that's recovery. So notice when we use open-ended questions, they avoid the yes-no answer. It's such an easy way to stay in denial and avoidance. So just notice if this is the typical way of communicating, and you have some tools to develop some new skills. So using the open-ended questions, what, how, really connects us more readily with curiosity. And it allows for your children or anyone to tap into their innate wisdom, because it's in there. We have wise, resourceful children. It is in there. Our job can be to inspire it to be unveiled. And when they find their own solutions that work for them, it's theirs. So notice how powerful it is to realize your own truths and to follow your own inner compass. And truly, isn't that what we want for them? Because that makes me, not, it just comforts me and reassures me that my son is developing skills. So other communication tips is just to say, yeah, I hear you. Tell me more about that. Well, then what happened? Or just validate, yes, it sounds painful. I hear that. I hear your frustration. I hear it must be hard. We're not fixing, and we're also coming out of denial. It's like, yeah, it is hard. And further down the road, it's like, and what's the first thing you can do to take care of that today? Because, yeah, I hear it's hard, and I'm not going to fix and solve that, in parentheses. So remember, you are not a doormat or punching bag, and protect yourself from imposing or being the victim of abuse. That is not what this is about. Prevent escalation or explosion before it happens. So breathing daily and through conversations that are difficult. There you have a handout, I think it was in the first week, about flooding. And flooding is when these intense emotions happen and our bodies start to react, our hearts race, we get sweaty, our thinking is very confused, or we're just all over the map. We're losing it in effect. So you can notice if your fists clench and unclench them. You want to do the opposite action, swing your arms, touch your heart, move those big body parts, and breathe. Count down from 100, 100, 99, 98, until you start to calm down. You can just, if you can't, just have, again, something scripted out. I want to understand, but it's hard to hear through the loud comments. So let's talk when both of us are calm. I love you. I'm going to hang up now. I have to take care of this for myself. I need to take a break. Just be responsible for what you can do. And, I love you. Let's talk another time. Honey, I know it's hard to hear. I just want to clear the air and share what I'm seeing and hearing. I really love you. Let's talk another time. Have a really good day. Or, I'll see you at dinner. So get what works for you and have it written down, because this will not be automatic, right? It's not automatic. Even with practice, I personally need to review this repeatedly and practice, and have it nearby as reminders. So, don't we all want to be seen and heard and valued and accepted just the way we are? And we don't like to be controlled. And when our children or loved ones, or really like anybody, when they get a sense that we're trying to control them, immediate disconnect. They're onto us, and they're going to shut us down. They might pretend to hear or listen, but they're not. So this way that we're learning to listen and communicate allows our loved ones and you to be in control of yourselves, and allow the other to explore and reflect on their situations, and for you to reflect on situations and come to new understanding and meeting. So it helps us to avoid arguments and ordering people around and directing things. It helps us to avoid analyzing. And it's important to just notice that we're going to have thoughts, we're going to have feelings, and to honor all that. And by doing that, this process allows for self-realization, which is to realize who we really are. Loving, there's a calmness in us that we develop. We can communicate. We can inspire. We are capable people. It's an inside job first, and always. Like, it's always going to be an inside job. And the benefit is that we get the job done. So I want to introduce the BALM conversation. Again, BALM is Be a Loving Mirror. And there's a very specific template for it that I shared with you in the handouts. The essentials of this communication, really for any communication, is being calm, noticing, being objective. Are you in fear, or are you in truth, which is going to bring you to love? Objectivity. In the BALM conversation, we focus on just the facts, and we prepare carefully before delivery, and we practice that in preparation. The facts are just what we see and hear. So just for practice and for homework, I invite you to recall a stressful situation with your child, if one's current or one of the past, some event that happened that was really stressful. and write down what that event was. And then write down just the facts of that event. What you saw with your eyes, that anyone that could see would see the same thing, and what you heard, that anyone with ears that could hear would have heard the same thing. And when you write out your stressful situation, you don't have to be so careful, but take a look at that stressful situation that you wrote out and reread it and cross out all the emotions, cross out anything that's not fact, that hasn't been seen or heard without your interpretation. Remove your opinion, remove any past or future statements, and eliminate anyone else involved in the script. Anyone else's opinion, anyone else's projection, their perspective, what they saw and heard. This is simply coming from your eyes and ears. Very, very important. It's not to create a weapon of evidence. It's not to collect evidence. It's really to clarify behaviors and events, to prevent denial and manipulation, and to support connected, loving, calm communication. That's what the BALM conversation is. So you don't become someone who's going to react or deny or join a manipulation. No, you're going to be calm, connected, skilled, and help them to see what's really going on, because really what's going on is they don't remember. They really don't remember sometimes. So it's with concern. Love is always, always the intention. And unless it is, we do not deliver this BALM conversation. And we're going to review this in depth. So to prepare, it's using just the facts that you recorded. And we're going to script out those facts and revise them as needed so that you're communicating what you'd like to convey to your loved one. We're going to eliminate things like what they're doing to you, how horrible it made you feel, or what they're doing to their life. That is not part of this conversation. That brings us into tension and conflict. That's something else entirely. This is a specific BALM, be a loving mirror conversation that comes out of denial, expresses concern, and does it with love. So an example of this is, I love you. I've noticed that, let's see, I noticed you bumped into the wall and I heard slurred speech. It seemed different than how things have been. Or I've noticed I'm getting calls in the middle of the night. That wasn't happening before. I noticed your eyes were bloodshot and your pupils were dilated. I saw you through the plate and the pieces fell to the floor. So see how it's just fact of what you see and what you hear. Okay. And then we keep these scripts very short, simple, and kind. We use few and simple words. And if you have a hard time getting out of judgment, well, then question those remaining judgments before you deliver such a script. And again, we're going to go into this. Remember your own business. Get out of their business. It's not arguing with reality. It's actually noticing reality and what you see and hear about reality. Okay. So for homework, again, daily breathing. daily gratitude, do inquiry on your thoughts, practice your listening skills. That will be maybe reiterating what someone says to you. Oh, so I hear you say, mhm, without sharing your interpretation. Practice open-ended questions. It is a remarkable tool for every relationship. It's so connecting. And please begin to record the facts of what you see and hear. And notice when you add story to it, project into the future, add your judgments, assumptions, things like that. And that's okay. We're just noticing this stuff, and begin to notice. You're going to whittle that down to just the facts, because that's going to help you with your communication. I also, so you have the open-ended questions, communicating with love. You have the BALM conversation template, and I included something on nonviolent communication, which is not for people in denial, but for those who can engage in and have interest in communication. And essentially, it's similar, where we're talking about the facts, how we feel, inviting someone to talk about it, and even making a request. So lots in your handouts to take a look at. Thanks for doing that. And again, this all becomes, just conversation unless we live it. And that is when you will realize your truest, most powerful self. So until this is lived, self-realization has no power. It will go by the wayside. It will become weaker and weaker, like a muscle. It atrophies unless we work it out. So I invite you to really try to get your homework, get in touch with your homework buddies and do your homework. And if you can't, please, please, please contact me so that we can practice together. We're coming into the final stretch, and all together, cumulatively, you can change your relationships with this stuff. You can change your way of being in the world. So thanks so much for listening. Next time, we're going to talk more about communication with intention and planning, and we're also going to talk about boundaries. So thanks for being here in Family Recovery Essentials. We'll see you next time. Again, reach out, please. I'm here for you. And until then, wishing you and your families peace. Thanks so much. Good night.